Good morning and welcome. It's Corporate Governance Platform brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. I am Funmi Omoburiowo. Today on the program, we want to look at relationship between internal audit function and effective risk management. Relationship between internal audit function and effective risk management. Let me remind you that ICSAN is a leading recognized professional body in Nigeria that's dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Our guest is right here in the studio this morning. We have Mr. CHRYSS AYAKOR, ACIS. He's coordinator, ICSAN Lecture Center, Lekki. He's also MD, ZINAC Professionals, a management consulting firm. Good morning, Mr. AYAKOR.
Good morning, Femi, and good morning, listeners. God bless you all.
Thank you for joining us right here. And also with me in the studio is Mr. Audit, FCIS, Head of Research, ICSAN. Good morning, Mr. Ketefe.
Good morning, Fumi. Good morning to you, our guest, Mr. CHRYSS AYAKOR, ACIS. And all our listeners, good morning.
All right, let's take this message and we'll be right back.
The world is constantly evolving into a knowledge-based economy where skills and competencies constitute the lifeblood of public and corporate governance. You therefore need to empower yourself to fit into this new world by gaining basic knowledge and improving your skill set in the governance-focused disciplines. That is why every aspiring as well as practicing professional in governance field needs ICSAN.
ICSAN. What is ICSAN?
ICSAN is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. ICSAN members are trained as chartered secretaries and administrators.
Who are chartered secretaries and administrators?
Chartered secretaries are high-ranking governance professionals with a broad base of skills, unique amongst other professions. They are trained in law, finance, accounting, administration, strategy development, and corporate governance. In today's world, chartered secretaries and administrators discharge a wide range of duties and responsibilities, including functioning as chairmen of companies, executive directors, non-executive directors, company secretaries, risk managers, compliance managers, board evaluators, and corporate governance evaluators.
That is interesting. How then do I become a chartered secretary and administrator?
Good. Go to the Institute's website, www.icsan.org. You can also visit the National Secretariat of ICSAN at Plot 6, Elephant Cement Way, Alausa, Ikeja, Lagos, to get full information on how to become members. ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
All right, of course, ICSAN, Hub of Governance Professionals, still corporate governance platform right here. And as I said earlier, we're looking at relationship between internal audit function and effective risk management. All right, Mr. AYAKOR, let's look at the term internal audit. What does it mean?
Thank you for me. Okay, internal audit is basically an independent appraisal activity within an organization, primarily to ascertain the scope, the effectiveness, and the reliability of accounting system, internal control system, operation system in an organization.
All right, great. Now, let's look at the role of internal audit within the context of corporate governance.
Okay, in corporate governance, we have policies. So basically, the role of internal audit is to effectively evaluate the effectiveness of these policies, such as you talk about risk management policy, how effective is the policy, whistleblowing policy, how effective is the policy. We do evaluation to ensure that at the end of the day, our policies are effective and they meet the demand of the entity.
All right. There's a provision of the Code on Corporate Governance that an effective internal audit function provides assurance to the board on the effectiveness of the governance, risk management, and internal control systems. I want you to shed more light on the import of this statement.
In an entity, the truth is that when you hear about issues like corporate scandals, corporate declines, corporate failure, it's as a result of either ineffective risk management or ineffective control system. So internal audit has a very close relationship with these policies. For instance, for a system for an entity to know that its policies are effective, internal audit performs a lot of functions there. Let's take, for instance, a new entity that was established a year ago would have put some risk mitigants in place, which are excellent and very effective within that period. By the time the company grows to, say, a year, 2 or 3, it is very likely that some of those mitigants might no longer be effective again. It is the duty of the internal audit to tell you that, oh, look, these policies are still effective to this extent. These ones are no longer effective, and as a result comes up with recommendations, either to introduce new policies. Also, an organization might also have expanded from Lagos to Abuja. The risk environment differs. So it is internal audit that will tell that, look, the mitigants in place that have been able to address the risk situation in Lagos cannot work effectively in Abuja. So this is what we want to do. That relationship is always there.
Okay. The code also provides that the internal audit function should be headed by a member of senior management who is a professional with relevant qualifications, competence, objectivity, and experience. Now, why do you think the code insists on these capabilities and capacities?
Number one, you cannot put a wrong peg in a square hole and you expect effective service delivery. So what the code is actually saying is that people that are meant to head internal audit department should be people that are grounded in terms of qualification. For example, if you are not a chartered secretary, you are not a chartered accountant, you are not trained in that line, you cannot function effectively. Then also, do not also forget that the fact that you are a chartered accountant or a chartered secretary is not altogether enough that you can. You need to have also got some grounded experience, otherwise you cannot function. And do not forget, we need to get ourselves to know this, that one of the reasons why most organizations are no longer in existence today, the one we used to know, we don't want to mention names, is basically because the control system were weak and nothing was done. And if nothing is done, you can just make a headway in a just short while. Before you know what is happening in the long run, you go into extinction.
All right. The code recommends that the head of internal audit function should report directly to the committee responsible for audit while having a line of communication with the MD CEO. Why is this special reporting line created for the head of internal audit?
Basically, to give room for independence, not to water the independence of the internal audit head. Do not forget, the MD is the head of the management team, so to speak. And he's an employee. And the internal auditor also is an employee. So it will be a threat to the internal auditor's independence if if the court allowed the internal auditor to directly report to the MD. So for us to be able to secure his independence, then the court is very wise to say that it is important that the internal auditor reports to the audit committee, which is an independent committee of the CEO.
All right. Next, I want us to look at a relationship between internal audit and internal control system, because according to the code, the internal audit function should also oversee the effectiveness and efficiency of the company's internal control systems and make recommendations for enhancement or improvement. So I want us to look at, the relationship between the internal audit and the internal control system.
Maybe we should thank you for me. Maybe we should attempt to define internal control system. Internal control system is seen as a system put in place. It's a control system put in place by the management of an organization to safeguard the asset of the organization, ensure compliance with relevant rules and regulations, and also to assist the organization to achieve its set objective. Now, if you look at internal audit function, one of the roles is to ensure that the assets are secured. Now, there are procedures on asset management. Are we complying? Internal audit is there to ensure there is compliance. Now, there are rules and regulations. X&H code. We have the 2018 code. We have Financial Reporting Council code. We have CAMA. There's a lot of guidelines. So, is the company complying with these guidelines in terms of appointments of directors, in terms of appointments of external auditors, in terms of, in everything, even when it comes to production? Are you complying with the standards? Now that is there to regulate. No, internal audit function ensures regulation. So there is a close relationship between internal audit and internal control. And to be very honest, any organization that do not have an effective internal audit unit or function will not have a very long-lasting, effective internal control system.
All right. Would you say the recommendations of internal audit functions in the code conform to the global best practice on the subject?
Absolutely, yes. I would say so. Why would I say so? Corporate governance is not a Nigerian thing. Corporate governance is a global thing. And in UK, companies have suffered corporate collapses. They have suffered in Asia. They have suffered in United States of America. The story of Enron is still very fresh. In Nigeria, it's the same thing. So the code, honestly speaking, that is international best practice, is in order.
All right. Then, given its importance, will you recommend that all organizations establish internal audit function?
Well, yes, I will say so, but how? Okay, internal audit function could be in a department form, could be in a unit form, could be in a section, it could be an individual. So depending on the complexity, depending on the size of the entity, yes, as a one-man business, can you have a department? The answer is no. So what will you do? The MD can also perform internal audit function as a person. Okay. Even a barbing salon can inform that, because let me give you an instance. You send somebody to go and buy foil for you so that you use it in cutting people's hair, and you get the person 2,000 naira to buy 2,000 naira foil. How will you know that they actually bought 2,000 naira for? So internal audit function will ensure that there's compliance.
Great.
So we say yes to that question.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. CHRYSS.
Thank you.
AYAKOR. Mr. Ketefe, does the Institute organize training on internal audit function for capacity building of professionals in this field?
Thank you very much, Fumi. The answer, of course, is yes. Our training department offers many courses on the roles and function of internal audit. But you see, it actually goes beyond this. As I've always said, the courses that are being provided by the training department are very, very expansive. It covers the whole gamut of teams in governance field. So we offer training that equip participants with ample knowledge in any areas, on any topic or team on corporate governance. So the answer to that question is obviously yes. But furthermore, apart from the general training that are routinely conducted in accordance with the training department calendar, the Institute also organizes training as specialized session for in-house staff for many organizations. So corporate entities and other organizations can demand specialized in-house training for their staff on the current topic we are talking about, internal audit, or any other topic in corporate governance and corporate secretarial administration. ICSAN is always ready to render such service. So for any inquiry you may have on ICSAN training, please contact Mike on 080 311 00642. For any inquiry you may have concerning ICSAN training, please contact Mike on 080 311 00462. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kadi Ketefe, CIS, Head of Research, ICSAN, and also Mr. CHRYSS AYAKOR, ACIS, Coordinator, ICSAN Lecture Center, Lekki, is also MD, ZINAC Professionals, a management consulting firm. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning. And that's how we wrap it up this morning on Corporate Governance Platform, brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN. We'll be back again next week on Wednesday, 10:15 a.m. right here in Equity 9.7 FM. I'm Funmi Omoburio. Enjoy the rest of the day.